The switch has flipped. I'm now feeling more gratitude than I ever have in my life for the people that have purposely come against me. I'm not a paranoid person, we all have challenges, but people that have actively gone out their way and paid money to put harm and spell work and various things. And again, I'm only talking to people who resonate with this. If you don't believe that, that's cool. I give thanks for your unhealed mind, and I trust that you have moved on from everything that went on, and that you're not living in bitterness, because I don't have any of that in my heart. And it's such a liberating, free feeling when we start to look at our own wounding, when we start to look at ourselves and hold ourselves accountable and responsible for every action that we put into this world. And as I said, there's a cause and effect. I know the reasons why certain things came my way of an undesirable nature. And it was annoying, and there was obviously you go through the emotions of stages of anger and frustration and everything, but I was never blaming anybody or a victim, sort of. It might have, maybe it did at some point have come across like that, I don't know. I think there's a level of releasing emotions that you get out, but not once did I feel that these people would ever get the better of me, would ever push me off a path that I know that I'm on, committed to, dedicated to, and have the love of people around me. Anybody who doesn't have love for me doesn't have love for themselves. And I am only on this awakening path with, you know, fellow soldiers, fellow warriors, fellow lions and tigers right now who are riding strong. Like, the energetic field and force field among the soul group is powerful, and so I just trust. I wish healing to everybody. I'm grateful for everything that has been sent my way, negative, positive. I'm an alchemist. I realised that I never fully embodied that. All these terminologies, all these words, you know, used quite loosely, and everybody's read, you know, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho and all of that, but fully coming into a place where, and this is not arrogance, it's just confidence. For years, didn't like myself, didn't do any of this, didn't talk openly, didn't share, knowing that I had a lot to say. And this is just part of the collective divine feminine awakening. It's the vice or witches that have been burned, all of the information, knowledge, sacred wisdom that has been passed through the lineage in our wombs, in our bodies, in our blood, in our DNA, that now is being shared and needs to be shared by anybody that has got a voice or is wanting to share deep feelings. It's for our own healing. Share it. Talk, sing, fly, do whatever we feel. Let's do whatever we feel is for the benefit of ourselves, for the healing of the nations, and for our future legacies. Let's leave something beautiful to the children that are being born right now, rather than, I'm not going to go around judging, rather than certain ways that I don't desire to be around anymore. So much toxicity. It is a toxic world right now, and I'm not just going to say we're going to remove ourselves from everything, because human wounding, you know, we can only look at ourselves slowly over time and become accountable. And once we do that, we don't really begrudge anybody else of anything they're doing, because we're not looking over there. We just stay humble. And there's been a few comments and stuff about not being humble because you share a level of confidence about yourself. When did that happen? There is so much skewed, distorted perspectives of how a woman being confident, a woman in her true divine feminine, or learning how to embody that, as arrogance. It's just a crazy world. Like, that is obviously the crumbling of the patriarchy. But women who cannot support women without hidden agendas and hidden motives, and I've been around women who, yeah, on the top shelf, might have been on the facade, like, yeah, let's work together, but behind the scenes keeping information to themselves so that they could go and off and do this and copy and take things. And I don't own anything. That's never my issue. People want to take. I know how many people I influence at the minute, because that's what I'm told. That's what the feedback I hear behind the scenes, and that is part of what I'm alive to do. we all have the purpose and the power and the mission, and our individual sphere of influence is important to all of us, should we tap into that purpose and path. Like, we all influence people, so isn't it important that we make sure that that is from a place of conscious awareness, and from love, and from a healed, well, just on a healing path. You know, we're never going to get it all right 100%, but we can always become better and be better and do better. And it is a cycle path, so I say we have a stumble and we go back to funny things, but it's evolve or repeat. Are we going back to the same toxic patterns? Are we still telling ourselves the same self-deprecating, limiting narratives that, oh, I can't do this, or oh, no, she's too good for me, or he's too good for me, or no. Like, in all of this, I realise there's so many people that just play with other people because they're unhappy in themselves. Want to see people suffer, like watching games, like watching see people stressed, want to put their 2 pence worths in. It's all negative to stop someone else finding their power, to stop someone else. So even in the corporate space, I think back to certain bosses, certain things that maybe I'll elaborate on time, that not all, I've had some very, very powerful people in my life, but some people trying to tell you who you are. Well, that's quite funny, isn't it? Because we are the only ones that can tell people who we are. We see the shadows, we see the darkness, and we see the individual battles, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, over the years, of what we've fought through, all the silent victories that lots of us, in our own ways, from our own individual wounding, have overcome. Because if I feel the power and I feel it in my soul group, then that must be a ripple effect. That must be because we are being influenced by the collective healing right now. We are all connected. As I keep saying, I will never see certain people again in my life. That's just because I'm protective of the energy right now. I want to be protective of my energy. I never used to know that I needed to be. I never used to know my power. I never used to talk or in a stand, study, observe energy. But when we start to tap into that, through however way, through yoga or through reading hermetic teachings, to having a conversation with wise women, Vichay, witches, white, dark, I mean, you know, women were burnt for the knowledge they held, for the intuition, for the herbal wisdom, for the connectedness to the land. And it's affected our sacral, affects our sexuality, affects our power, because the throat and the yoni, I don't really use that word, I don't know why I mean it. Anyway, are connected. And so that's an empowerment when we heal our sacral chakra, because it's the lower before the throat chakra. When we heal our voice, our self-expression, our desire to speak our truth, and keep our lives private and maintain harmonious relationships, that becomes easier to us because it's a practice. As I said before, some people say, oh, life isn't a practice, you just got to live it. Many of us didn't know this. We don't know this. So how do we start anything without it just being a little practice, a little drip, drip, drip every day? One thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, for the betterment of ourselves, for the betterment of our mind, for the betterment of the food that we intake, for the betterment of the content that we're watching, for the betterment of the people we're hanging around, for the betterment of our communities and the ways we live. So when we reach that point, we realise, like, I don't compete with anybody. None of us should compete with anybody, because we stay in our own lane. And this is going to be a point of repetition over time, because there's a couple of things on, like, I'm not the only one speaking about this, I know that. Still find it very, very bizarre that women coming into their power get backlash, which is just a sign of insecurity on the part of those expressing nasty words or detrimental behaviour. But in the end, the thick skin, like, all right, I won't say, my power animal has got thick skin, and I know why. They're my power animal. And everything adds up in time. I'm not saying stuff makes sense, but we start to see why certain things have happened, and that's why I give thanks to everybody that's sent shit or good my way, because actually it's just energy, and as alchemists or transmuters of energy, everything helps us elevate. Interesting. And so I give thanks to everybody that tried and failed. And I give thanks to everybody who's shown love and support, because those people showing love and support are focusing on their own journeys and their power. And I, as a loving friend, watch as I see these warriors, lions, tigers, rise into their full potential, the divine feminine creativity, the divine masculine strength and purpose and focus. It is delicious. It's magnetic when we all align, and I wish everyone healing, especially my soul group people. Go on, I'll see you.